Good morning, good afternoon. Hello, hello. Come on in. We're just starting up this special edition Soulcast called the Manifesting Trifecta. So grab your seats, get comfortable. I would love for you to chime in and let me know who you are, where you're from, and anything else you'd like to share. Say hello to the community, say hello to me. And I will definitely acknowledge all of your questions and comments that you might have about today's topic, which is a good one. So today's topic is about the holy grail of manifesting according to this empath. So the holy grail, the perfection, the trifecta of manifesting. And it's especially aligned with the intuitive empath. And you'll find out more about what I mean by that as we get deeper into today's topic. So I want to ask you a question to start this off. And the question goes like this. Are you a passenger or are you a participant in your manifestations? If you are consciously manifesting or even unconsciously manifesting, well, this has to do with conscious manifesting, setting an intention, like having a project, a transformation. When you deliberately ask for something, what is your part? What is your role after you ask? Well, I bet you I can tell you what it is. And it's typically that of a passenger. Deep question, guys. Are you a passenger or a participant in your manifesting process? Here's how it goes. Here's how most people were taught. They ask, they believe, and then they receive. I spend a lot of time and energy on the receiving part of the steps. Most people ask, believe, and then they receive, and they rest on their laurels. They sit back and they wait for their manifestations to drop out of the sky. And then their manifestations don't happen. And typically that's because they aren't aligned with the manifestation that they asked for. And that has everything to do with getting yourself ready. We have to prepare ourselves to receive the manifestations by aligning ourselves. So this is a multi-step kind of process, and I go deep into that in my coaching programs and in my courses. But for today's purpose, I'm just going to talk briefly about that because that is the third step of the manifestation, the receptivity. There's so many under subtopics that we can discuss. So we're going to really just focus on the trifecta. So the three trifectas fall under the receptivity state, if that makes sense. A lot of noise downstairs. Sorry about that. Okay, so what I really want to put my emphasis and focus on is that all manifestations are collaborations. They are co-creations with what you're saying. Well, what am I collaborating with? Who am I co-creating with? What's this all about? I thought all I did was just ask, believe, and receive and just wait. That's vaguely it. But with the co-creation process, we are very much in sync with a couple of different things. The first one, I'm going to talk about trifecta point number 1, which is universal laws. So you're collaborating with the universe, folks. These universal laws that are like the basis of our reality, basis of everything. So we can think of like the physical law of gravity, right? We don't quite understand it, but we all have a basic understanding. We have a basic knowledge of what gravity is. So for instance, I know that if I take this glass and I let go of it, it's going to drop to the ground, right? So then we can manage our lives and, work our lives leveraging what we understand about gravity so that we can use it to our advantage, so that we can avoid pain, and we can invent things and fly kites and do all kinds of fun stuff utilizing gravity. Well, when we're manifesting, the universal laws are, I really want people to think of those universal laws to be just like gravity. They are working 24/7 behind the scenes all the time. So they're working whether you're aware of them or not. So it's in our best interest to really become aware of them so that we can work with them, we can leverage them, we can avoid pain points, we can use them to manifest to the best of our abilities. And let me talk about I would say the 3 top universal laws when it comes to manifesting. Now, most people are familiar with the law of attraction. That's a big one, and that's basically what manifesting is: the ask, the believe, and the receive. Knowing that like attracts like, and that energy, everything's energy, and we're constantly attracting to ourselves at the energetic vibration or frequency that we are. So that's part of the receptivity. So if we understand that law, then we know that if we're asking for something, then we need to get into alignment with it. We need to match the frequency or the energy of that. So if we're trying to manifest something that sounds so far out of our aura or field, then we get curious and we say, well, how can I get closer to that? How can I align myself with that vision? Things that I can do maybe to align myself with the thing that I'm asking for, trying it on, so to speak, So understanding these laws is paramount. We don't have to understand exactly every single detail of how they work, like gravity. We don't need to know, but we can see, we know that they are in action all the time. Another law that is to be really considered and understood, as far as I'm concerned, in the manifestation process, is something that most people don't talk about. That is my sticking point. This is my favorite. It's the law of reciprocity. And that is the law of give and take. It's the law of karma. Like what you give is what you receive, right? Huge in manifesting. So a lot of when my clients come to me and they're saying, I don't have this or I don't have that, there's not enough of this. I want to have more of that because I don't have it. I will instruct them to go give something away in that field. So the law of reciprocity says, that we are these co-creators with the universe, but we have to go first. So we make a step forward and then the universe matches us and then overmatches us big time. We see this play out. The churches know this. The religions know this. They leverage that law in the law of tithing, and so that's a practice that has been around for centuries, and it's just known that when you give, you receive. Now that's not why we give, but if we know that that is the result of giving, then that frees the fear up from giving anything away, from hoarding or thinking that there's not enough. So it helps us really come to grips with the idea that we live in a really abundant universe and that there's an inexhaustible resource of everything for all of us. And when we get into a giving mode, we're expressing that. We're saying that. That's what our vibration is saying. That's what our bodies are emitting and emoting out into the universe. And when we are of that caliber of frequency, then we're receptive and open to receiving more. So that's a big one. And then the other law that I like to focus on in manifesting anything is the law of divine timing. So a lot of people, when they start manifesting, they get super impatient and they want everything now. And, sometimes that just isn't the deal instantly. So it's not always on our own timing. Again, this is a collaboration. And so we have our timing and then there's divine timing. And so for us to get into sync with this dance, that we are actually doing this dance with divinity, with the universe, with as far as matching our frequency, asking and receiving. It's a give, it's a take, it's a dance. It's not a you owe me or here's my list, bitch. Fill it. It's a friendship, a collaboration, if you will. And so if we think about it on those terms, we drop our entitlement, we drop all of that other stuff, then we just become these receptive beings. So here, you're going to hear me talk about receptivity quite a bit. In fact, I want to pause a little bit and let you know that a lot of people are sitting here go, I'm receptive. I'm so receptive. I know I can receive. I actually created the simplest of quizzes on my website. It's called a receptivity quiz. And I ask you like 10 basic questions about your level of receptivity. And I do this because, and this is like everyday receptivity, like how do you respond when somebody buys you a coffee? How do you respond when somebody pays you a compliment? If we can't receive those little things from everyday life and everyday people that we know and trust some of the times, how the heck are we going to receive the big manifestations? It's an impossibility. So go test yourself, see how receptive you really are. And if you're not that receptive, you can work on that. But awareness is like 99.9% of the solution. Once we become aware of something, then we can start to catch ourselves and adjust ourselves and redirect our energy and learn different tools and techniques like saying, oh, thank you. Simple, right? So go take that receptivity quiz. It's on my website. I'll put the link below. It's charlenemurphy.com /receptivity-quiz. Pretty easy, right? So go take the quiz and see how you do. I'd be curious to find out. So a lot of people just think that they're waiting and they want it, but they're not receptive. It's a big part of the deal. So then I want to chat a bit and go into the second step. And again, this has everything to do with receiving and aligning with the thing or the things that you're asking for. So when we're in the process of doing like big life transformation manifestations, I call them the big asks or the big projects, buying a new home or moving to a different location, finding a love interest. And size doesn't really matter. The universe treats it all the same, but we humans, we have sizes, right? So I'm talking like the bigger manifestations that we're putting out there that are going to change our lives. There's always going to be action steps, So sometimes those manifestations do literally fall out of the sky instantly. It's like, oh, there it is. Whoop, answer, and the problem solved. Here's the answer. There's the guidance. Boom. And then we go. But more times than not, the manifestations that we are creating require our attention, require our action steps. And so I know you're scratching your head right now going, but hey, wait a minute, Charlene, you said the hows of the domain of the universe. Actually, Mike Julie said that, but yeah, I second that. The hows are none of our business, and the hows get in the way of the ask. When we don't ask, if a lot of people just don't ask because they don't know how that can possibly happen. So they just stop themselves. They block themselves from square one. So I'm saying, no, go ahead and ask. You don't need to know the how at this point. You don't need to know the how. The hows will be revealed in step 3 of receive. Step 3 is a big one. So the hows will be revealed. And so you're saying, well, how in the heck are the hows going to be revealed? Who's going to reveal them? And I want to let you off the hook. You don't have to know the hows. You're not figuring out the hows. That's not your business. And I stick to that. The hows, those action steps, the next things will be revealed to you by your spiritual entourage. Now, let me explain that. So the second point of the trifecta is your spiritual entourage. Okay. So your first one is basic understanding of the universal laws. The second one is, leveraging your spiritual entourage. What the heck is the spiritual entourage, right? So the spiritual entourage, in my perspective, is, a combination of your higher self, your soul, your spirit, who knows and connects with the bigger divinity, the bigger picture, God, universe, whatever you call that benevolence, that pure, positive, infinite wisdom, knowledge, understanding, love, the perfection, right? So our high selves, I like to call it, are always connected with that. Now, is our awareness to that connection always present? No, we have to work at that, right? We have to quiet the mind and prepare ourselves and, reduce the interference around us. There's some things that we can do so we can tune into that easier, more frequently, more predictably, on cue, basically. So tapping into that, our spiritual entourage, that's that, including our high self, our spirit guides. I call them our helpers. They could be angels. They could be passed over loved ones, ancestors. Gosh, there's so many different theories about who or what those spirit guides could be. And I can't even pretend to know, because I don't. And maybe when I pass over, maybe then I'll really know. All I know for sure is that there is some benevolent presence out there responding to us all the time. And I didn't make this up. Every religion and every culture around our globe has some sort of concept that reiterates this notion, right? So like the Catholics and the Christians have angels, we have deities, we have gods and goddesses, we have the Great Spirit, we have the Holy Spirit. There is not a culture that I can think of or know, and I studied a lot of them, that don't include that concept of having some higher external helpers out there. So I call my guides, and I typically call them you guys. Sounds a little rude, but that's what I call them. And they told me that that's fine. A lot of you know my story about that. I won't share it here, but I know they don't care what we call them, just call them. And so our guides are on the job, just behind the scenes, arranging things for us. So, I am a big ascriber to the idea of a conspiracy happening behind the scenes to get us to our higher places. There's a conspiracy happening for us. The universe does have our back, and there are mysteries involved and synchronicities happening all the time that are getting us there and getting us closer to our ask and to our ideals and to our heart's desires. And it's amazing how this stuff works. And it's amazing to watch it come to fruition. And it's even amazing when it just happens seemingly haphazardly. I don't believe it's ever haphazard. Maybe sometimes, but it's always happening, and they're always on the job. And so I'm always amazed and grateful for that, and knowing that. And I've known that since I was little. So I've never felt alone. I've always known that there's help out there. And for me, I dial directly into that line instead of, the well-meaning people around me. So you just know that you have unlimited, high intelligent, divine resources of guidance and information. And I just implore you to tap into that and to use it and leverage it, especially when it comes to manifesting. Because in your manifestations, when you ask for those big things, those big transformations, and there's the steps and the how-tos, you're going to be guided. They're going to show you. They're going to roll them out, dole them out at your pace. You'll feel the pull of your hair. You'll get the aha. You'll get the, oh, that's for me. You'll get the book that falls off the shelf. You'll get the commercial that flashes in your face. You'll get the messages. And so, like I said, you don't have to know the hows, but being plugged into and leveraging your spiritual entourage and having a relationship with them is really super beneficial for you. Especially during the time of manifestation. It's positive and amazing at any time, but this is when I probably leverage it a little bit even more. And so that I keep on saying, plug in. plug into your entourage, plug into, tap into your high self, tap into those messages. And you're going, okay, well, how in the heck do I tap in? What is that about? Well, that just leads me right into trifecta point number 3, which is your intuition. Your intuition is your guide. It is your internal guidance system. And for the empaths, for most of us, that means we feel things. There's an intuitive body sensation. It's sentient. We can feel it. We can sense things in our bodies. And then we also can just know things, and we can hear things, and we can visualize and see things in our dreams and even in our waking life. So there's so many different ways to enhance our intuitions and to tap into our spiritual entourage so that we can hear the messages, so that we can receive that guidance, the how-tos and the steps that are necessary for our manifestations. Because like I said, most of the time, the manifestations don't just fall out of the sky. Those manifestations require steps on our part, right? They require action. Again, we don't need to know the action. We will be guided to the better, higher, more intelligent, perfect action steps designed just for us, right? So when we're manifesting, one size does not fit all. That is for certain. All righty. So does anybody have any questions at this point? Any comments? All right. So hopefully you've taken that receptivity quiz. And also on my website, I have, it's called the empath test. No, that's not the one I want to direct you to. I want to direct you to the intuition test. The intuition test. That intuition test will tell you how you mostly receive your information and guidance. Like, do you just know? Are they just ideas and ahas? Do you hear in your mind's ear messages? Hey, Charlene, you should do this. Doesn't mean you're nuts. It just means that's the way you receive your guidance. I had to throw that in. All right. And then there's also the empaths with their heart feelings and their sensations in their bodies, and they feel it and they get the chills, and they'll just get this buzz in their body and they just know. And then there's, what's the other one? I can't think off the top of my head what it is. So anyway, take the empath test and figure out how you most dominantly or predominantly receive your information and guidance. Most of us are going to have experiences with all of our senses, because our senses are just tied right into our intuitive knowings. It's part of the same process, right? So, but some of us are just more apt at one. And when you know that about yourself, then you can develop it even more so. So trifecta point number 3 is intuition. And at the beginning of this, I said that manifesting is more natural for the empaths. And this is why, because the empaths are highly intuitive, sensitive beings. We're just born that way. Some of us are made that way, but most of us are born that way. Maybe a combination of the two, nature and nurture, right? That's a whole nother broadcast. So when that is natural and easy for you as an empath, a trained empath, I want to say, because I know that there are lots of people out there who are empaths and they don't even know it. And I call those the untrained empaths. And so what I do in my work is I help the empaths really hone in their gifts, really understand and love how they're wired so that they can just be spectacular with their gifts. And most empaths are actually here to be the healers of the planet. And so once we understand that, we understand, that's why I'm so sensitive. That's why I feel everything. That's why everything kind of shuts me down or hurts me or whatever. It's not here to punish us. But when we understand our empathic nature, we can direct it, we can redirect it, we can heal our wounds, we can do all of that, and then we can be of service to others. And so I'm all about really raising the vibe with the empath and getting them from an untrained place to a highly beautifully trained place where we can use our gifts and be of service. That's what we're here for. We're the light workers. We're the peacekeepers. We're the teachers, the counselors, the helpers. That's what we're here to do. But if we're so wounded and untrained, we're not ready yet. We haven't tapped into that. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the untrained and I'm getting you and I'm graduating people all the way through to really realizing their power so that they can be a beneficial presence on this planet and manifest like a queen, like a boss, healing their bodies, healing other people. It's amazing stuff. So I digressed. All right. So when we're talking about intuition as the third trifecta, there's many ways of developing it. And of course, I spend a lot of my practice teaching people how to develop their intuitions. Huge part. But the basics of it is to really just be still and listen. Be still. There's a lot of competition out there. There's a lot of competing noise. There's a lot of interference out there. And so the empath is naturally kind of absorbent. And we're picking up a lot of stuff. And so it's in our best interest to minimize the noise, to really create an environment that is soothing for us so that we can hear and that we're not being bombarded by external stimuli all the time, so screens off, TVs off, ambient music on, essential oils diffusing, so you create the nice scents, you create an energy in your field that is soothing and calming to keep your beautifully sensitive instrument at peace, right? And then when it's at peace, you can direct your mind and you can direct your energy and you can focus on what you're wanting to focus on instead of being overwhelmed by everything coming at you, right? So this is the trained empath. This is the empath who understands her gifts and understands her sensitivity and really uses them to her advantage, basically, because this also means you're a very highly tuned instrument where you can receive information from your guides, which is my point here. So trifecta point 2 and 3 work synchronistically together. Trifecta number 1 is having the basic knowledge or understanding about the universal laws. So when you have those basic understanding of the universal laws, you leverage your intuition to tap into your guidance. You are unstoppable. That is the holy grail of manifesting, folks, right? So it puts you in the driver's seat too, and it hones your step number 3 in the whole process, ask, believe, and receive. Boom! It puts you in a very active receptivity place so that you're not just waiting, you're not just a passenger, you are a participant in this whole process. Okay, so I want to share with you a few suggestions in how to get this going with yourself, how to leverage your spiritual guides, your entourage. You can do some research on that on your own if you like, just trust me when I say that they're there. A lot of people get really hung up on wanting to know their names. And I really don't believe that they have names. They're not named, except for maybe I don't know. We give titles to things and people and places. We personify everything. But don't get hung up on that. You don't need to know their name because they're spirit, and just call them what you want. And that's what they would tell you. Call us what you want. They don't care. So a lot of people just think that they don't have a spiritual entourage because they didn't get a name. And it's like, don't limit yourself with that ridiculousness, please. Go beyond that and know that there is such amazing spiritual guidance here for you. Just tap into it and just say, hey guys, or girls, or whatever you want to call them. Hey y'all, What's happening? What's up? Connect with them. And think of a time or two where you were saved by the hair on your chinny chin chin, or something happened and you knew that there was some sort of divine intervention there. Think of that and just say, hey, you know what, you guys, thanks. That was so cool. I don't know why you did that, or who you are, or any of that, but man, that was really cool. Thanks for sparing me, or that time when I was, couldn't pay my rent and I was like really just crying out for help. And then all of a sudden I got this check in the mail, or that was divine intervention. So you don't have to know the who's, the names, all that ridiculous human kind of posturing stuff. Just rid yourself of that, lift that up, and just go, I know that there's something bigger out here and up there. And every religion says so. Every culture says so. We all give it different names. You name it whatever the heck you want. It doesn't matter. So develop a relationship with spirit. I just call it spirit, dudes, guys, hey. And I think some of them have gender, some of them don't. Who knows? Don't try to figure all that out. Don't get bogged down in all that. Call them your helpers, know that they're there, and just chat with them, give them thanks. Maybe even create a little altar place for them where you just give them flowers, or a cup of tea, or, whatever, fill in the blanks. So my point is just creating a relationship. And it might feel a little silly at the beginning, but you'll start to feel that you're not alone and they're responding. And so this is a big part of the manifestation process too, is if you feel like your entourage is really on the job and right there, waiting to work with you, they're your team, your spirit team, then you'll feel like, I got this, because it's not on me. It's not on me. We're doing this all together, and this is cool. I have all this different stuff to leverage. It's not just me. And what if I fail? And I'm just not good at this. And get out of your head with all that crap. Get out of your head. This is so much simpler. I always say, excuse me, this is so simple. So simple. Is it easy? It's easier for me. It's easier for a lot of people because we let go of all those silly restraints and blockages. But a lot of people just really complicate the heck out of it where it doesn't need to be. Let's keep it simple. Let's keep it light. And everything that is, I don't know, in the universe to me is very simplified or very simple. And so the more complicated it is, that you're doing it. It's like that monkey mind is doing it. So another thing that you can do to tap into your spiritual entourage and to fine tune your intuition is, again, by quieting your mind. How do you quiet your mind? Meditate, close down the noise, create that environment. But I really like seated meditations. I love gazing meditation, like just staring at trees, staring at the ocean. When you get into that place and you're just in the zone, and then a couple hours pass and you're like, I don't even know what I thought about that. You're in such a pure vibration, and you're so receptive at that time, and you're not clogged and filled with all of your human stuff and the stories and the crap and why I can't do this and your laundry list and all that. You are relieved of it. It is gone. You are a clear, pure channel. So that's pretty amazing when you can get into that state. Meditation and gazing does it for me. See what does it for you. Some people get into that zone when they exercise. I used to be a runner, and I attest to it. It is by far one of the greatest things you can do. You're just in this zone of clarity. It's quite amazing. And so when we can do that, then we can learn how to redirect our thoughts, redirect our minds, so that we're not a slave to every little thing that's happening around us. That's chaos. The last thing I want to recommend is for you to put this all to the test. And this is where I'm going to promote my new course that's starting actually on Thursday. Put this to the test. So I have a course, a 6-week live coaching course called the Abundant Empath. And the Abundant Empath really takes these concepts. We bend, we energy bend, we go into the trifecta, we put the stuff to the test with something that is specific to you. So everybody in the coaching program will have one or two things closely related that they're manifesting, that they're wanting to intend and bring into manifestation into their life, right? So for 6 weeks, we're going to focus on bringing each individual manifestation into form, or having tremendous momentum created in 6 weeks for that, right? So one of mine is to get into the shape of my life. Now that's not going to happen in 6 weeks, but I'm going to be well on my way by developing new habits, by listening to my intuitive guides and what I need to work on, what I need healing for. All kinds of things are going to come up for me. I know that. And I'm expecting that so that I can finally heal these things and move on and be my best self, right? So I'm not expecting 50-pound weight loss in 6 weeks. I'm expecting momentum, like 12 pounds, something realistic. And we can crunch those numbers out, because if we're manifesting things that we can't believe, step 2, not going to happen. So we can chunk it down into 6 weeks and make it more feasible. Like, what is going to be the thing that happens in 6 weeks that we know we have momentum? That's going to be the test, the litmus test for that. So everybody's going to be working on their individual project manifestations. And so each week we're going to meet live, get some coaching, talk about general stuff. And then I'm also going to give everybody their own private assignments that are designed specifically for their manifestations. So everybody's going to be doing some general work, and then they're going to be doing some more specific stuff. And then I also have designed in the 6 weeks that if questions come up, which I know that they will, and typically a lot of the questions are the same, I want to do some coaching and answer calls live as well. So there's about 8 live coaching sessions that will take place. And then we have a Facebook group, of course, that we have daily support, daily encouragement, more ideas and tips and techniques for the things that we're going through. And we're going to be measuring, of course, because we're going to be putting this to the test, like I said, for 6 whole weeks. So I encourage you to check that out on my website and to sign up. It is at charleneMurphy.com/abundant-empath. Abundant-empath. And it's actually the first thing that you'll see when you go to my website, charlenemurphy.com. Just click on that. It'll take you to the page, give you more information, and then from there you can sign up. So I encourage you to really, really learn the bones, the meat of manifesting. It's not just this woo-woo pie in the sky stuff. These are step-by-step tools, laws, ourselves that we leverage and that we understand and we develop. And then once you get this, you will be able to wash, rinse, repeat on any other given future topic that you want to manifest. So join me in this, learn this, and then you can do this. You can repeat this process at any given time for every situation in your life. I also have a guarantee on this. So go check that out. You have absolutely nothing to lose and everything to gain. My goal, my intention for doing this is I want you to really understand your true power. I want you to understand how magnificent you are and how connected you are to these universal, beautiful principles and laws that serve you, that are here to solely serve you. Tap into your resources. They're unlimited, and the renewable resources, they're amazing. And so I want you to understand that and know that, so that you feel more in control of your life, and that you feel that you know that there's help, and that there are tried and true things that you can do in your life to better it, to improve upon it, to create more and live a life of your dreams. So that's what my big goal and my intention is here for all of you. Don't squander your resources, folks. You're here for a reason. You're here for many reasons. And one of those big reasons is to master yourself and to master your intuition and to master your mind. Good stuff here. All right, well, I'm going to leave you guys with that. Please feel free to ask me any questions or leave me any comments in the chat. I will be checking frequently, and I'm happy to answer. And again, this Abundant Empath 6-week group coaching starts this Thursday. So hurry up and sign up. Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. That will be our first live kickoff. So think about what you want to create. Think about what you want to manifest. You already know. Bring it to the surface and let's do this thing. All right, guys. Until Thursday, until I see you again, take excellent care of yourself and each other. All right. Peace out.